Hi everyone, it's Chelle from Chelle Shell Crochet. Welcome to my February update. Let's talk finished objects and whips. Hi everyone, it's Chelle. Welcome back. How are you today? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to anybody who's new, and we're going to talk about the things that have been on and off my hook in the month of February, and also a few things that I have on the go. There's some secret projects that are now completed, and yeah, a bunch of stuff, a bunch of whips actually, but all of them have gotten a little bit of love, so that's all good. Also, at the very end of the video, you will see a yarn swap that I did with a friend of mine named Lori, who also lives in the same part of the GTA, the Greater Toronto area that I live in Ontario, Canada. And yeah, that was fun. We did like a Valentine's Day swap. So if you're into seeing some yarny goodness, it'll be at the very end. And let's get into the finished objects. Okay, so we're going to start with the sweater that's right here beside me, and I'm going to take it down in a second, but before I do, it is made with Caron Skinny Cakes held double. The colorway will be at the bottom of the screen, and I used a 7mm hook, and the cardigan itself, I learned to make cardigans from Krista at the Secret Yarnery's tutorial for the Tammy cardigan, or the Tammy sweater. Basic construction is foundation double crochet over the shoulder start, and it's kind of like a panel construction. You could do 2 panels, sew them together, and then continue on from there. I actually do a back piece, which I'll talk about when I take the sweater down. I just do regular sleeves to fit the arm the way like a hoodie would, for example. And measurements and things like that, what I've taken to doing, and I think the first time I did this was last summer, I borrowed an article of clothing in the size I knew I needed to make, and so that worked really well. For people I'm making these for, I've bought them clothes off the rack before, so if I can buy them those clothes in a store and they fit them, then I should be able to use that sizing to make a sweater and also have it fit. So that's what's working well for me. The reason I go to this particular tutorial for the knowledge that I gained from it, and just go from there now and make my own cardigans without having to follow a pattern, is because I don't have to follow a stitch count or anything like that. It's all measurement based, and when you have that piece of clothing, you just use your measuring tape and you're gauging what you need by the measurements you're using on the clothing itself, for the arms, all that kind of thing. So that's how I do it, because I have had a couple of questions about them when I've shown them before, and in a post I already made regarding the sweater. So I just wanted to let you know that's where that all comes from. Krista is always linked in my videos, but I will also link the specific tutorial for the Tammy cardigan. So this yarn was actually requested. My friend saw this yarn. This is a birthday gift. It's one of the secret February projects I had to do, and she probably will not see this before she gets it, and even if she does, it will be past her birthday, so it's okay. I decided to do it held double, and it gave it quite a marled look. So I will pop up some pictures along as we're chatting about it, but I'm going to get it down for you and show you it up close in a second. How I like to do the neck is I always like to have room for the neck. So rather than just have 2 panels that are exactly the same size, I'll do some short rows in the middle. And then when I'm ready and I think it's gotten wide enough, I'll just continue over. Instead of using a chain for that, what I like to do is just pick it up as foundation double crochets to go back down. It's pretty easy to just go in the side of your last double crochet that you need at the top, and then keep going as a foundation double crochet, which gives it a nice amount of stretch that's similar to how you started. So let's start with the back. So here's the back of the sweater. And here's the front of the sweater. And I just want to take it off the hanger here and show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. So whatever side I started from, the entire width of the sweater goes all the way over the shoulder, right? I stopped doing that and I just start going up and down in this section here. And then when I'm ready, I pick it back up and start going over again. And that for me is the easiest way to do them. No joining necessary. And yeah, I like how it turns out. So you can see hopefully that the yarn is all marled as a result. Some of it's more two tones of blue, some blue and some very almost gray. And then there was this pink in the cake as well. Right there. But I think I did a pretty good job trying to do a bit of color control to get it to line up nicely. Just hold it right up for you. And then what I like to do is I'll come back in the center and add some extra rows in here. Sometimes I'll play around with the neck area. Not all of it needs to be the same height of stitch, and you might need a couple extras to make sure it's going to lie flat against the neck, have enough give here. I just play with all that stuff. It's nothing from like a specific tutorial. It's just from the experience of making all the different things I've made over the years. And I'm sure you all have that same experience as well. So here's the sleeve. And I just did a little bit of post stitching at the bottom. And I also did some detail on the center in the front of the sweater all the way down. But at the bottom, I just kept it very simple because of all the stripes. I didn't want to interrupt the stripes too much. So I just kept the bottom edge very simple. So again, I have different pictures you may or may not have already seen, but they'll be in this video somewhere. But anyway, I don't know if it was better off on the hook or you better seeing it this way. But here is the sweater. Quite a bit of work because you have to work with all the different, matching of the sleeves and all of that sort of thing. While I was doing my decreases, I kind of worked it in sections. So I would do like 3 or 4 rows at one stitch count on one side and then on the other. Decrease or whatever I had to do, and then just work my way down that way so that both sleeves could be the same without it being me having to make so many notes and all of that sort of thing. It is a bit tedious, that part, but all in all, I don't mind making them. They take less time than a blanket, depending on what size you're making. So that's a gift, and I hope she likes it. And if you have any questions, after all that babbling, if you still have any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to answer them down in the comments. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, before we get on to the next secret project, let's talk a little bit about some of the smaller little makes. I had a single skein of baby yarn that came in a grab bag from Michael's a good couple of years ago. And I only found out the name of it because Carrie Penny told me about it when she saw it in that video. I think it was Kai. It's really a long time ago now. And I think I did go back and find it at Michael's at one point. And I'm pretty sure it was Loops and Threads. It was just the one skein of baby yarn. And I wanted to make a little corner to corner project. Like as if you were making a corner to corner scarf. But I turned it into a little poncho. Here it is. Let's look at the back first. So there you go. And then just folded it all the way around. And it's got one of those chain zigzags for a closure. And that way, when the little one becomes too big for this size, mom can just take this right out, open it up, and use it as whatever they like a little accent for the bedroom or a little scarf. Anyway, I thought it would just have a couple of different functions that way. But for now, that is going to be going off to a tiny human shortly. Cute, eh? And I did really like this yarn. Didn't buy it on purpose. Got it in a grab bag, but it's very soft. It's got a bit of a marl to the colors, and the color changes were very subtle. It was very, very nice to work with. And on this one, I used a 5mm hook. Gotta remember to say my hook sizes. I wanted another yarn bowl for myself, so I'll pop up a picture here because it's in use out in the other room and I forgot to bring it in here. So I had made a little yarn bowl for myself. This all started because Jade & Stitches posted a little quick sort of slideshow tutorial for a heart. And I did the heart, and here's a picture of the heart. And afterwards I thought, I could really use another yarn bowl. I don't really need to buy one. How about I just make one? I'm curious to see how the cotton will do with keeping it more sturdy. And I already had this glitter, this tealy yarn out with some glitter in it because of the heart. So I joined them, and here's a picture of the basket. Or yarn bowl. That's what I'm using it for anyway. And it's actually come in double handy because I sewed the heart to the yarn bowl, and now to keep a needle handy with it, and I have stitch markers hanging from the outside and stuff. But anyway, I'm sticking my darning needle right through the heart, and it shows that it's there, and it's great. So it's created a little bit of a really functional tool for me, and it did do what I thought. So I held 2 strands of black Bernat Handicrafter cotton together with 1 strand of Mary Maxim Pound of Sparkle in the teal colorway, and that is what came from it. And with the yarn bowl, I use an 8mm hook. So very happy with that finished object. Been using it ever since, a good couple of weeks now. And seeing as I had the sparkle teal out, I still have a ball of mandala that I've been using in different projects where I want to hold things double. So it's still out there, still going. So I just made a little hat, just a regular double crochet spiral beanie, starting with about an 8 count, I think. So you can see it's a little pointier up at the top when you only start with 8 stitches, down to the brim with some post stitches. Super simple. So basically you got a 4-weight yarn there with some sparkle held with a 3-weight yarn there. And it didn't really change color too much. It did, but you can't really tell because at this section of the cake, it's just different shades of pink, but very, very similar to each other. So that's done. And this next project is the reason I had the teal sparkle yarn out. I had one Caron big cake, and I don't know what the color name is offhand, but I will post it for you. And I wanted to make a project using it all. And Crystal had given this to me in the summertime. I thought that the teal sparkle yarn would look really good with this cake. I did color control this fairly heavily. It's just a wide scarf. So here we go. I don't know which way to show it to you. How about this way? There you go. You don't need to see the whole thing right now because the colors are the same. So you have the sparkle teal at the very outside edge here, and you have it at the middle and at the bottom. There was teal in the cake along with a blue, a red, a very purpley pink color, and that taupey color. There also is some extra purpley pink in there from leftover from the poncho I made at the very end of last year that was requested. So here she is, nice and wide. I'll throw her on for you. Nice and drapey. I will post the hook size of this because I can't remember right now. It was a fairly big hook though, at least an 8, if not bigger. Yeah, so you can see her a little bit on me. Let me adjust the camera one sec. Yeah, so plenty to go around to wrap, and it's nice and long still. And this was kind of inspired by, I saw Kristen Omdahl demonstrating how to wear rectangular scarves and make them into a cowl. So do hit her up on Instagram or on her channel here on YouTube to check out her demonstration of that. She did it, so I'm going to let her show you, but this was one of the reasons I wanted to make a nice drapey wide scarf, is to be able to do that functionality of making it into a cowl as well. But yeah, it's nice and generous in terms of keeping you warm and cozy, and I just love the colors. It's very, goes with everything, right? So this one was fun. It was very easy, all double crochet, and that's that. Any questions, let me know. Okay, so the last finished object is going to start off with this little clip. Here we go. Hey guys, just a clip of my secret project because it's for hubby, and that's why I couldn't show you anything in the month of January. But this is where I'm at so far, and I need to make 80 squares in the different shades of green and 20 squares in black, and then I need to sew them together. So I will be back with more info on that in the actual video. Bye for now. Hey everyone, just a little quick update on how the progress of secret project number 2 is going. So I have been making all of these little squares that are a 3x3 granny, 3 rounds of granny, and a whole bunch of different colors of green. Can anyone guess why so far? So this was a Craft Smart yarn. This is a Bernat Premium. This is a Tencel Monster Ball worsted, and this is from a Bernat Pop. And so for the Bernat Pop being thicker, I had to go down a half hook size. And then there is one more. This is also, these are both spring green. This one's premium. This one is Red Heart Super Saver. And Red Heart Super Saver was working up the smallest by far, which was shocking to me. And then here, these are the 2 different greens I had out of that Bernat Pop, slightly different. And I guess that's the last deep green I had, and that is just a scrap ball that came from some tangled yarns from Cambridge Fibers. So yeah, I have the first panel assembled, and That's the end there, the last one. And I have some other ones chosen. It's sets of 4, right? Based on where they're gonna go on my pseudo graph I'm making. And yeah, so the last hint I'll give you for this little clip is that some black will be going here and some black will be going right here. Anyway, so I'll put this at the beginning of the video. So at the end of the video, you can see the big reveal. Bye, friends. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to rewatch that clip so I'll know exactly what I told y'all, but that was way back a while ago, and we are all finished now. I'm gonna pop up a picture of the finished object while I'm talking here when it's appropriate to do so. And I will put another clip at the end of the video showing it to you in person, because someone has not opened his present quite yet, but he will be doing so tomorrow. And once he does, I'm going to get him to help me out with the last step, which is blocking, and we'll go from there. So he still doesn't know what it is. This is for hubby, I think I mentioned last time, and he is super into Minecraft. So this is a creeper wall hanging, and I'm lowering my voice even though he's downstairs in the basement and promised he wouldn't listen. But we had a bit of a funny happen. I made him a creeper eons ago, and if I can find a picture I'll pop it up here. It's probably 3 or 4 years ago now. It was probably one of the very first amigurumis I did, and man, sewing it together was the worst part. And he liked it when I gave it to him. He has a stuffy that's very similar, so I knew I wasn't too far off the mark. But he said to me randomly last summer, I think, that it's supposed to be multiple colors of green. It's not supposed to be all one color of green. And sure enough, I'll pop up a picture here of the inspiration. First, I'll pop up a picture of the graph that I found. And I thought, oh, that's pretty easy to follow. But as you can see, the graph itself is only in the white background that you need to start off with, and then it's just in green and black, but not multiple shades. However, I then found randomly at the grocery store napkins and plates in the Minecraft theme, and the napkin itself gave a much better indication of how all different colors of green could be made to show that. So then I found some pictures, and here's a picture that was actually what I followed to make the wall hanging. And so I made 100 granny squares. There are 80 in multiple different shades of greens, and there are 20 in black. And that's how I got the face. And it's a square right now. I've added on about 2 or 3 rows of gray, but I did not do the part for it to hang yet, because I'm going to give him control over how he wants that to be. Whether I just extend the top more so I can fold it over, or we put some like loops on there, I'm not exactly sure. And also, in case he wants this to grow into something different than what it is right now, I don't know. That's a little scary right now, but if there's other things pixelated wise that he might want this to grow into, we'll have that conversation. But for now, he's getting the Minecraft creeper wall hanging. And it was very interesting. So I could not whip stitch these together because the stitching would have showed. I still had to use the best yarn sort of at the time, because you're working with so many different colors of green that you're not always going to have greens that match, or it's just not possible. I'm sure you can see what I mean just from what's on the screen. So the squares themselves are very easy to do. It's only a 3-round granny. So a 3-round granny doesn't take any time at all, but you do have to make 100 of them, and then you do have to sew all of those together. And I just took that picture that I was following for the different shades of green to plot them out. And so I would plot out a row and get my whole first row done, row being a set of 4, so 5 sets of 4 across. And then the second one came in and had some of the black in it. And I also worked this all from my stash. So I did not go and buy any shades of green for this. And at first, I didn't realize I had some of the lighter tone. I was able to get those extra greens out of Bernat Pop Cakes. For the majority of the squares, I used a 6mm hook. And with the pops, I used a 5.5. And depending upon what size you want it to end up being, you can just make your squares a lot smaller. And if you make them a lot smaller with a smaller hook, then they'll be tighter, there'll be less holes. It really depends what you're going for. This was my first time trying anything like this, and I just based it all off of gut. I didn't really follow any specific instructions. But thinking it through now, I have figured all that out. And also, if you don't want any holes at all, of course you could make your squares out of like single crochet. But yeah, for a Lapghan for a first for me, I'm very happy with how it turned out. I hope he will like it. I have been told by my mother and Crystal that he will love it. So I hope they're both right. And I'll find out tomorrow. And maybe I'll be able to even say that at the end of the video when I take that clip, because I will take it and add it in before I post this video. So anyway, I had fun doing it. It did take a lot of time on and off. When I finished the January video, I think I was not even at half my squares completed. So the bulk of it did get done in the month of February. And yeah, a lot of assembly required, but the outcome was pretty good. And once it goes for a blocking, it will be even better. Okay, that's all for the creeper wall hanging. Let me know if you have any questions. On to the next one. So this is both a whip and a finished object, or several, depending on how you want to look at it. So I figured I'll let this transition into whips and cowls by showing you all of these. I am making a cotton blanket, cotton granny square blanket. In the finished squares are being housed in my lovely shell bag that Crystal gave me. I love this one. It's nice and big. So this all stemmed from me wanting to make a cotton blanket, and I was thinking I have a lot of handicrafter cotton. I have a lot of sort of scraps of handicrafter cotton. What if I just made a granny square in every single color of any handicrafter cotton I have? It's 4-weight cotton yarn. It's the most easily accessible cotton yarn we have here in Canada, and I've accumulated a lot of it over the last 4 or 5 years. So I started making squares. And we have a mixture of solids and variegates. I'm not going to show you them all individual, but I'll show you a few. And of course the purple had to get in. Found that at Spin Right last year. I had enough just to make one of these in the light purple. So if I only had enough to make one, I made one. For the most part, there will be 2. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a few dropped. So it is a 6-round granny in the solid or variegated colorway using a 6mm hook. And then it is getting an extra round of gray, still handicrafter. It's a very light gray. And in the final round of granny square, I eliminate the chain in between. So starting to pull in and tighten up the square a little bit. And then in the very final, it's just a round of single crochet. And in the corner for the single crochet round, it's only single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the corner just to go around. And these will get whip stitched together because I really like the texture when you whip stitch using 1 loop of each side only, eventually. What occurred to me is this would be a great project for summer. And then I just started working on it anyway. I guess I just started to see the cotton, especially the cotton scraps, the balls I had that were not full. And then I thought, well, what if I dig out my big tote of cotton and see what else is there? So quite a few of them have started to get their edging as well, all these. And I still have more colors to pull out. But once I do that, I'll start to get an idea of how many I have total. I measured, and I'm pretty sure the finished square ended up being 9 inches. So nice size. And the other thing that I really wanted to say about this, because handicrafter cotton gets a bad rap. Those of you who've been with me for a while know that I made a king size blanket. I'll pop up a picture here for my bed for summer, in summer of 2020. And it was like 7-ish of the huge balls of handicrafter, and I had got them on super clearance at Lens Mills, and I tried it and it's great. I've had a cat blanket for so many years that has been laundered so many times over and over and over, and it's still holding up great. Sure, it's not like pristine brand new, but it's not deteriorated, and it's just gotten softer and softer. Cotton and acrylic are not the same. They're never going to feel the same no matter how soft the cotton is. But this has got a boatload of drape. Way more drapey than you would see if this was made of acrylic. It's just different. And so I'm very interested to see how the end product is going to be. and to see where it might end up. This might end up living with me because it's just a bunch of different colors of cotton yarn. But the only cotton blanket I made last year, I'll pop up a picture of that too. I made a modern granny in purple with a variegated purpley colorway. It disappeared. Someone walked away with it. So you never know, right? And I have a lot of cotton, and there's no reason, in my humble opinion, to not use it for blankets as well. I am team cotton blanket this year. So if you have any questions about that, a work in progress. I don't know if it'll be finished next month. It may or it may not. It will take a minute here to let you know that the one whip I showed you last month, which was my table runner / tablecloth for my coffee table, is nowhere near. Maybe I got another 4 rows into it. So I'm not going to show that again this time, but I do have some other whips to show you. Let's start with some Cal stuff. So I am participating in the weekly temperature blanket. Dina from Dina's Homespun Fun came up with this, and I heard about it from Rose Likes Crochet, and we are through the month of February. So my January is at the bottom there, and my February is with all these teals. Wednesdays in 2022 have been super warm compared to the rest of the week, but it's nice that I'm still getting a lot of different colors in here. I only have the really coldest color down here in January, where my finger is, one time. And the only reason that the other brighter purple's there is because I'm getting a bonus week, the weeks that don't have 5 Wednesdays, so I could even out my blanket. And I pulled that same one back as my bonus color for February because it has been really, really cold a lot of the days, but not quite this cold to represent the whole month. Whenever there is whenever there's not a 5th Wednesday, I'm going to choose that color to represent the month the best it can. But I did 2 back-to-back weeks of the dark teal, one of the bright teal, one of the soft lilac, and one of the bright purple. And I did my in-between as well. So this is going to be cool when it's done. A lot of the other colors will come out when it's warmer, and I'll end up going back into some of these towards the end of the year. So that'll be really, really fun to keep working on. And I mean, 5 rows, 6, 7 rows of this last night was, I don't know, 2 hours maybe. It's really easy. Behind me, can you see? Yes. So I made myself a chart so I could redo the temperatures in Celsius and then have my colors, and it was just easier just to whip it up in Word and have it all laid out for me there. I think I already posted it once in the community tab. I'll go back and have a look. If I haven't, I'll definitely post it for you so that you can see what I did in terms of changing those temperatures over to Celsius. And also because I was working strictly from stash, my colors had to be modified slightly, so you can see what those are too if you're interested. And that brings me to my community tab for a minute. Because I'm only doing 1 video a month this year, 1 planned video, which is my podcast at the end of the month, I'm going to be more active on my community tab. So when I have little updates to show you of things that I've been working on, sneak peeks, Cal participation, anything really, I will share it there for you. So you'll probably see me posting in there once or twice a week on a regular basis. And please interact with me there too, because I love hearing from you anytime. Cal number 2 is the Jada and Stitches Totally Tunisian calendar blanket. We are on our 2nd square. And as with most people, mine is quite skinny compared to how it's supposed to be, I guess. But anyway, she said that was going to happen. So again, not blocked yet. I figure what I'm going to do is make 3 and block 3. Make 3 and block 3. That will be my strategy. And I have my other one here too, so let me just grab it. So this was the first one showed last time, and this is the current one, which is called the Tunisian Full Stitch, if I do remember correctly. And one lesson I take away from this month's, pull it apart, this month's is just to, if I'm going to practice, I need to also make it. I practiced and made a dishcloth. My mom has it. As I did the first time, but then I went weeks and weeks and weeks before I made this. So the learning or the practice was not as helpful. So I'm going to have to make a plan to sit down and kind of do both in the same few day period at least, and not go weeks and weeks in between. It wasn't sitting well with my brain that you had to put your hook in a different place to start the rows. It just wasn't sitting for me. I wasn't seeing it. Using a stitch marker wasn't helping me. So anyway, it was a bit of a chore, but it's done. And it's very different, and it is, it's what it's intended to be. Am I enjoying doing this? No, not at all. I am doing this to actively participate in learning something new. and to push myself out of my comfort zone. So I do learn something new, and I'm gonna make it at least 6 months. We'll see if I make it all 12, but at least 6 months. Because I know that for last year's with the Mighty Mile a Minute, the learning wasn't as challenging, but I had never done Join As You Go, and it was a pain. There's a couple of different things that made it a pain. The strips were ending up different lengths because the stitches are different sort of stretchiness. But by the time the middle of the year had rolled around and gone by, I realized how much easier it was getting. So I have since used Join As You Go in other projects. So for that standpoint, I'm hoping that I will enjoy this more by the end of the year, by the middle of the year, whenever, because it is new and the hook is completely different. And anyway, everything just for me, with my crochet, I tend to do things that I can do quickly, and that's not the only be all and end all to crochet, is completing something, doing something fast. I want to enjoy the process, and I feel like if I force myself to learn, I'll enjoy it more, and I'll even enjoy the other crochet I'm doing more. Anyway, a little rant, but 2 done. Okay, so I put the sweater back, as you can see. One of my last whip, I think this is my last whip I'm going to talk about right now, also the last cowl, is the Best Buddy Blanket Cowl, hosted by Lisa from Lisa's Crochet and Cindy the Crocheter A, and I think they are both finished their blankets, and I am nowhere near. Let me get this the right way around. So the tutorial being used for this crochet along is the Winter in the Woods blanket by Glenda at Creative Grandma. Will be linked in the description box as it was last time. And the tutorial calls for Premier puzzle yarn. And I decided to use a yarn from my stash, and I am holding mine double. So I am using Red Heart Comfort in this color. It's actually Comfort Flex, and the there's the name. And this is called a Latte Fleck. So if you can see, there are some flecks of color there. It's not super bright or super predominant like it can be in this type of yarn, but it's a nice neutral color. And the rest of the colors that are in this blanket are just scrap yarn. Most of the scraps came from bags of tangled yarn that I picked up from Cambridge Fibers last year, and maybe a few other just leftover scraps. The scraps I'm choosing to use for this blanket, the second strand, are all more like a soft worsted weight, so it's not quite as thick as the first strand. But my pattern is here. I actually did one of these charts as well for this, so I will post that. I guess I'll post it as a picture for you at, somewhere along here. But here's how far I have gotten. So make sure I got this the right way around. So the bottom is down here. And then you get my first set of striping, another set of gray, a section of brown, back to the gray. And we're in the middle. I think I'm pretty much right at the halfway point now. This gray section here will be slightly wider than the other gray sections, and then I'll reverse these stripes back down, all the way reversing them back down. I like to do one sort of pattern on the way up and then reverse it on the way back down. And so I don't know what my stitch count was and everything like that. I just chained a certain width so that, there you go, so that I could make sure it was well Lapghan size. It basically well drapes over my lap on both sides, so you could get 2 adults under this no problem. It's super warm and it's super thick. I'm using a 9mm hook for this, and I could have easily used a 10, maybe even a 12. But yeah, so it has gotten some love, but not a lot lately, especially not since I posted my last update on the community tab. But I'll persevere. I like this blanket just fine, and I'll just keep working on it. I think they're done, but I think maybe they're making more than one, or at least Cindy is. So yeah, this is fun. It's a great pattern. I've also been using it for a bunch of scrubbies, and I forgot to grab any of those because pretty much Chris has them all in use already. But because it's so textured on one side only, I've just been making a strip in like chaining about 26, I think, in a regular 4-weight cotton, and then single crocheting back across, and then starting the pattern from the blanket. And I do like maybe sets, like I tend to count it in sets of 2, because the part that bulges out on the one side is every other row. So I tend to count those as one set. So I think I do about 3 sets, and then another regular single crochet, fold it in half like a sponge, and then sort of seam it around the outside. And those work great as kitchen sponges, and that's what he's been using them for. And I just like to have a lot of them on hand so you're not having to reuse them and they can get washed. And yeah, so anyway, nice texture, super dense. You could do it as a rug if you use a smaller hook. Like, it's really, really a dense fabric. And I'd be very interested to see the difference in how it works up in puzzle yarn. So much so, like, I do have some puzzle yarn, and I also have the loops and threads equivalent. Some of them are multiple skeins, so they're good for like hat and cowls or hat and scarf sets, those kind of things. If I find I have a one-off, I'm going to try maybe making a scarf, just so I can see the difference in the texture of using just the single strand instead of the double strand like I chose to do. But if you need a warm blanket, double strand this and a big hook, and you're off to the races, and you'll have it in no time at all. So I'm having fun with that, and it should be done next month. So I'll show you my finished object. You can hold me to that if I don't see any reason why I won't, but I will show you that finished object in March. So February is a short month, and maybe that's why it feels like there wasn't as much accomplished this month as I would have liked, but there was a lot of granny squares done, so they make me happy. And anyway, I do have one more thing to tell you about before we close it off, and that was my yarn swap with Lori. I'll pop up some pictures here for you. These are the pictures Lori sent me of the yarn that she received from me. She decided she didn't want to do a video, which is fine, and she opted just to send me the pictures instead. And here they are. So she was very happy with her box. She hadn't ever used any ice yarns really, so I sent her a bunch of ice yarns. I explained to her the whole thing about shopping for ice yarn and the mistakes you make and those types of things, but she's okay with some of the thinner yarns, so she was happy to take some of those off my hands. As I mentioned last time, I'm not going to be getting any yarn this year, purchasing myself wise. If I get gifts, that's one thing. My husband already offered to get me some for Valentine's Day, and we haven't actually shopped for that yet. We may or we may not. I may get something else instead. But we did do this yarn swap for Valentine's Day, so completely from stash on both sides, which is great. We both decided to add in some extras, and one of the extras she gifted me was this lovely little bag. I didn't ask her, but there's a similar bag that Jada has done that's on the small side. This may be that one or a different one, but a really pretty bag in a cotton, which I love. And there were some nice little knickknacks inside here, and the chocolate already got shared away, of course. Let me see. Stitch markers. I think you use this to hold a skein of yarn. I also didn't ask, but that's what I think it's for, because a little button on the one side there. Cute little keychain. Anyway, you got the idea, right? First thing I did was I found this skein of Bernard Handicrafter. Am I holding it upside down? Yes. And I made 2 scarves for my cotton blanket. It was so cool to have another colorway to add to the craziness, and yeah, love it. So this is great. I really love this colorway too. That would make a great bag. There were these 2 little, I'm calling them little for 2 reasons. Little cakes, because they remind me of little people. They're little people colors, and they are beautiful. And I think it's from Kitchener Yarns on here, it said. Very cute. Love it. There's this one great male-ish, very neutral colorway of Charisma, which is going to be a hat for sure. There are these 3 wonderful balls of loops and threads in these denim-y blue. Two of them are in this denim-y blue, and then this teal. I cannot get enough of the different teals in my life, teals and aquas these days. I don't know what it is. I used to be such a purple person, but these colors just make me super happy these days. And mixing them with other colors makes me super happy too. And I think these are the ones. So this is Barcelona Big, and I think these are the ones that remind me of puzzle yarn. So there's this colorway, which is very purpley. I'm not sure if when you dig in there, I think it will, it's going to get more purpley. This could be a contender for me trying that scarf thing I was talking about. And this one too. I have a very similar one to this, but it's got red instead of pink. But that's a very interesting colorway. I love marled yarns, and they naturally transition between colors way nicer because they're mixed to begin with. Oh no. Is it 7 o'clock? Okay, so my doorbell rang. And apparently a lot more time had gone by than I thought. And a friend dropped by to say happy birthday to hubby. So it's a couple hours later now, and I will finish telling you about my box of yarn. I just thought it was funny, so I thought I'd share. One of my faves, Caron Big Cakes. Big cakes are my favorite cakes. I'm sure there's some cakes out there I haven't met yet, but I just love the texture of this acrylic, and I always have since they came out. I don't mind that, like, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but that white piece of yarn right there has got some blue speckles on it. It's part of what's in here. It doesn't bother me. The softness, the feel, and I don't know, just this texture of this acrylic I've always liked, and I've always wished that they would have made some solids, but they never have. Here's how, that's interesting because this doesn't look like this colorway to me, but there's a picture of it on the side there. What's it called? This is the Cake Pop colorway, and I am looking forward to using this in a project. I will probably do something similar to like that scarf. It probably won't be an actual rectangular scarf, but meaning that I'll use it all in one project. And yeah, I'll have to find just the right pattern for it. I got something in my mind, but I'm not sure if it's quite enough. And I will let you know when I know. Love that yarn. There were 3 of these in here. Unforgettable. These 2 are the same. Beautiful. Also feel like it's very neutral. It could be either male or female. And then there's this beautiful, I haven't taken it out of the package yet, just a very neutral looking beigey colorway. So with Unforgettables, I'm never sure if they're still, these colorways are still in stock, so we won't bother going through all the colors. There were 2 actual Caron cakes in here. This bag is open, so I can reach in and grab one out. Sorry for the little crinkle there. I have never seen this one before. It's very interesting. It's got a few greens and it's got a few browns. Very different. Interesting. Let's see what can come of that. A softy chunky in a beautiful purple. And a Soft Essentials. Had never touched this yarn before I opened my box. And I've always been curious because it's a bulky weight yarn. It almost feels like it's a bulky weight version of like those soft yarns like Caron Simply Soft and stuff, but a 5 weight versus a 4. And yeah, I was checking, Mary Maxim has these on a pretty good deal right now, but there's not very many colors. And again, yarn is not on the to-do list this year, so we will work with all the wonderful things that have come into my life here. There's a couple of these, so let's do it this way, one for you, one for me. As Krista would say, this is Hookah Fur. I have this in a very neutral beigey tone that I have trimmed some hats with, and I like it quite a bit. It is a 5 bulky, and the colorway is Peacock. So can't go wrong with that. I like those very much. And the last 2 are a new to me Bernat baby yarn, but a bulky one, which makes me happy. Bernat Baby Marley. Never had this one before. The other color I have is a pink, and this is a blue that you're looking at. 300 grams, 10.5 ounces. Super soft to the feel. This is 100% polyester, and it's considered a 5. So it seems quite different than blanket yarn to me, but it feels very soft and squishy. And I love the marled yarns. So much so that I tend to marl stuff myself, as you know. Anyway, so that was my box. It was a lot of fun. It was nice getting to know Lori a little bit over our emails and texts. And it's nice to know that there's someone not too far away from me that is also involved in the Yarny community. You've probably seen Lori in the comments here and there on different podcasters' videos. Anyway, friends, it's been a bit of a long one. There's just a couple more things for you to see, and that is the little clips at the end here. But I'm done for February. And you'll probably be seeing this video around the 27th of February, and I will be back at the end of March. I'll have had an extra week almost of stuff to do, so that will be fun. And in the meantime, I hope you've had a great month. Have a great day, and happy crochet. Bye. Gotta take a minute to wish my hubby a really happy birthday, and I hope he likes his surprise present. Good morning, everyone. Somebody's gonna be opening his birthday surprise. We'll see how much of this he lets me keep. Happy birthday, Shin! Let's open your birthday surprise. It's early. We haven't even had coffee yet.
That's a big piece of tissue. So get rid of these small pieces.
What are those? What are those?
They're paper
Oh, is
plates.
it Minecraft stuff?
Yes, it's Minecraft
Plates and
stuff.
napkins?
In case you didn't know, I played Minecraft on my channel. This is heavy.
Is it heavy?
It's heavy. You know? Someone's been getting into the cards recently. Uno Minecraft.
So I had to get the other Uno because I didn't know if we needed the other Uno to be able to play the Minecraft Uno. It's been so many years since I played Uno, I didn't know how. But hello, can you give it a little bit of attention? That's a Minecraft Uno I found you.
Yes, it is.
You didn't even look at it and see what it's about and stuff?
It's Uno with Minecraft characters on it.
So nothing's different, you just play Uno the same way,
I
but...
think it's just the same.
Okay, well...
We'll find out later.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, someone's been keeping
Here
something
comes the
from me.
surprise.
Jeez. The heck is this? Jeez.
Wow! Look at that
I
thing!
think it's a creeper granny square blanket.
It's a wall hanging, sir. It's for your space downstairs.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't make it big enough for a blanket.
But I could. I have a Lapghan.
Yeah, you could have it as a Lapghan.
Thank you very much, Chelle Shell Crochet.
Do you like it?
Yes, I like it.
Are you
love it.
surprised?
I am surprised. I guess let's go this way.
We haven't. Your part hasn't been done yet, so it still needs blocking because
My part.
I can't do that part on my own. But
go.
yeah, that's a good way to show it, I suppose. And yeah, what do you think? Does this one pass the mustard, considering the other one was rejected years later for being all solid green?
It's not being rejected. I'll have you know it's standing prominently on my gaming shelf, which you probably get a picture of later.
So, are you shocked and surprised?
I am shocked and surprised.
Guess how many squares?
I don't have to guess, I can just do math. I'm gonna guess 100 squares.
It's 100 squares.
Yeah, 10 by 10.
80 of greens. Look at all those greens,
I'm looking
sir.
at all those greens.
And 20 of black. Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of work.
yes.
Started in January. Early January even.
And I couldn't come up at certain points because
Very
someone
recently,
wasn't letting me.
during the assembly required, yes, you weren't allowed to be around. But
Makes it hard when everyone works from home.
this is true. Anyway, happy birthday, dear.
Thank you.
Hold it up one more time for the ladies.
There you go.
See you guys soon. Bye.